YouTube? Before we start, you already know, smash the like button for more fire content. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. For all the newcomers, welcome to Team Eyeland. Make sure to follow Team Eyeland on the IG page, TikTok, Twitter, and sub to the Twitch channel if you can. And make sure to tune in on our weekly live stream. This week we went 6 for 6 this week. So we're trying to be more consistent in live stream to put out more information for you guys so you guys can take your game to the next level. Today's video will be how to master zone coverage. So we're gonna break it down every little detail from your alignment to where to be, where you need to be in your zone coverage, what to look for, how to make more plays in your zone coverage. But let's get into the video. So zone coverage, right? Now, before we get into everything, let me explain how to recognize zone coverage, right? So cover one, we got one high safety and everybody else is man. Cover two, we got two high, right? Cover three, three high, right? Cover four, four people is deep, right? So we're breaking it down. So cover one, we got one person in the middle of the field. That's a man coverage right there. One person in the middle of the field, he got deep middle and he's reading the QB. Cover two, we got two people deep. So we got the safety splitting the field in half, right? So one half is for the safety, the other half is for the other safety. Cover three, now we got three deep. So we got a corner playing a third of the field, got a safety playing a third middle of the field, and we got the other corner playing the other third of the field. And then cover four, you break the field in quarters and fours, and everybody got four deep. So that's breaking down everybody's zone responsibility in those coverages. So ideally what it is for us is 2, 3, and 4 as corners is zone. When it's cover one is man, but 2, 3, and 4 is zone coverage for us. First zone we're gonna talk about is cover two. Cover two, we are ideally responsible for the flats, right? Now, you gotta be smart. This is where we have to watch film and understand the coverage because now we can help the safety in cover two. So I'm gonna explain how we're gonna help the safety, how we're gonna be in position to make more plays and be very effective in cover two. Now, in cover two, our main responsibility is the flats, right? So ideally, it could range, it could be different based on what routes we see. A lot of people think the flats is just 5 yards, right? Technically, yeah, but we have to expand. If nothing's in the flat, we're gonna expand our zone responsibility. We're gonna drop and get a little bit more depth so we can cover routes. We don't wanna necessarily just cover an area if nothing's there, right? We wanna be in position to cover routes, right? So ideally, first thing first, we always wanna try to force the inside release of the number one receiver. So we're gonna be outside leverage. If we're playing press, right? If we're playing press with outside leverage, right? We could be heavy outside if we want. We're making sure he tries to go inside. All right, now there's things that receivers would do against cover two, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But we want our main objective is force the inside release. So if he gives me a release and he tries to go outside or inside, I force it in, then I drop, right? So if he tries to go outside, boom, 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 I'm here staying square. After a few shuffles, 3 shuffles, we step and hinge. Step and hinge. All right, go back. The reason why we want to force an inside release is because we want to funnel him inside so the safety can be in better position to cover him. If we give him a free release outside and the number 2 receiver takes off right down the hash, it's going to be hard for the safety to be over top of both of them and make a play on the deep fade from number 1. So we got to be smart. We want to force the inside release, disrupt him, and slow him down to get outside. Slow him down to get inside because now it's going to help the safety be over top of everything to see everything. So now if you're playing cover 2 and off man, a lot of people disguise it. They line up at 7, showing that it's like man, off man, and then next thing you know on the snap, they come down at 5 and they get hands on the receiver. So let's just talk about what we're gonna do in off man. So if you still gotta be outside leverage, right? As he's coming closer to you, you wanna stay square. You do not wanna pedal. We're not pedaling in this. We're being aggressive. Now we wanna force the inside release still, right? So if he goes inside, in, don't chase it. Drop in your zone, right? Now, we're still outside leverage, he's coming. He tries to get outside. We're still doing the same thing. 1, 2, 3 shuffle, step and hinge. We get our eyes inside. It's important that we disrupt his release because, like I said earlier, the safety has deep half. If he has a free release, it's gonna be hard for the safety to cover 2 verticals and be on time to make a play on the ball. Now we're gonna talk about cover 2, where our eyes should be. Now, this is how you're gonna break it down. As soon as you get hands on the receiver, take your eyes inside. So if he's coming at me right here, I'm looking and making sure I'm protecting my leverage and I get hands on him. Now, in, my eyes go inside, right? Now, what are we looking for when our eyes go inside? We're keying number 2, the number 2 receiver, and reading number 2 through the QB, right? So if number 2 is going vertical, he's going vertical here. We force the inside release, boom. I see number 2 is going vertical, I keep sinking, right? The reason why we're sinking is we gotta protect that hole, right? If he runs a 10-yard out, we could jump it, right? If he runs a 5-yard out, we can break down, go for it. Now, the reason why we're reading number 2 to the quarterback, we're reading the quarterback's shoulders. High shoulder, that means he's looking for a deeper route. So we keep sinking a little bit. As soon as his shoulders turn to the flat, we're breaking, getting ready to go with him, right? You also got to know the down and distance, guys. So if it's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10, right? If he runs a 5-yard out, we're going to just break late, tackle him, and get off the field. But it's 3rd and 5, they're looking for that 5-yard out, right? So that's where we got to be very important with getting hands on. As soon as you get hands on him, key number 2. Number 2 runs that out route, boom, read the QB, his shoulders turn, right here, take it to the Baja, right? You got to understand the situation when we're in coverages too, very important. Rest, guys, our eyes, right? You still looking at him, making sure he gives me a release, boom, 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 force it in. As soon as we get hands on, still the same thing. Get your eyes to number 2, sink it, right? We're stepping and hinging. We do not want to ever turn our back away from the quarterback, all right? We want to make sure we're stepping in, zone turn, look at the quarterback, we sink, and we're looking to play the void. Say, number 1, he's running at me, boom, and he runs a hitch. Boom, 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 boom. I'm here, I gotta be able to play this whole shot right here, this void, right? So if number 2's going vertical, I'm reading number 2 to the quarterback. High shoulder, I'm sinking underneath, crossing over, playing this void, because if he runs that corner route, we gotta be underneath to go attack the ball at the highest point, right? You don't wanna sit here on this hitch the whole time and he runs that corner route, because remember, the safety is coming from the hash to the sideline. And offense teach receivers, when they see the high safety on the hash and they have the corner route, they're gonna run their route flatter towards the sideline, right? So as he's running his corner route, he sees you on the hash, he knows it's cover 2, the corner's sitting on this hitch, he's gonna flatten his route towards the sideline because he's running away from the safety, right? Now, if it's the safety's high and he's playing here and we're playing the void, now if he flattens his route, we're in the void, we can play on the ball. Now, what the safety receiver would do is make it more of an angle towards high when he sees us. So now we gotta be able to read the QB. So if he's going high angle to the corner, right, we're reading the QB, shoulders turn, boom, we ready, we break, make a play on the ball, right? Or tackle the receiver. So you got to understand the situation, how important it is for us to read the QB while we're playing the void. We got to be very instinctual right here. We got to react quickly here, because that's going to be important, and that's going to be the reason why you make a play or reason why you don't make a play. On cover 2, what are cover 2 beaters for corners? All right, I'm going to break them down real quick. So we got the smash concept. Hitch by number 1, corner route by number 2. This is where the quarterback is reading the corner. He's reading you. If you sit on this hitch, he's going to throw the corner automatically. If you play the void, he's going to try to play a game and guess. And we're going to be able to read the QB, shoulders point. We break here, shoulders high. We play the void to play that, right? Now, another one is divert from number 1, outside release, mandatory. They are taught to make a mandatory release outside in this situation when they know it's cover 2. So mandatory outside, boom, step and hinge, because number 2's running that out route. And what they do sometimes, it will be an out stop. If he sees us sitting here, he's going to stop at the sticks. So he's going to run his out route instead of stopping running it all the way to the sideline, he's going to turn, see us, and he's just going to sit right here. So it's got to be important we see that and get ready to break on it immediately, right? And then another one is a wheel from number 2, right? He runs vertical. Let's say he runs a post. Boom, 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 boom. In and in. Now, we're the flat defender. Whoever's responsible in the flat defender always have to take the wheel. Very important. So if he runs a post, he's running it to the safety. The safety has to take that. He runs the wheel. We got to see that. That's why it's important. As soon as we get hands on him, we look at number 2. Find number 2. He's running out. Boom. He runs the wheel. We're on it, and we're ready to run with him. Number 3, right? As a corner, cover 3, we got deep third. Nothing should get behind us in deep third, right? So it's important that we know and recognize what we see pre-snap. How many receivers we have? 2 receivers, 3 receivers, right? Understand that 1 receiver, that's very important. All right, so if we're in cover 3, off man, 7 yards, 1 yard inside, whatever your scheme is, do that. But you want to be about 7, maybe 8 yards, right? Now, since it's cover 3, your re-steps is not that important. You still should take your re-step, but it's not that important. You can get a little bit more depth in your re-step because technically you have somebody who's responsible for the flat. Our main objective is deep third. So as I'm here, I'm taking my re-steps. I can get depth a little bit. It could be a little quicker, and I'm reading the QB. Now, we got to remember, in cover 3, we don't want to just cover an area if there's nothing there. So if number 1, if I have 2 receivers, number 1 runs a 5-yard in, I look at number 2. I'm looking at my next threat. He's not a threat anymore. I'm looking at number 2. What does number 2 do? Number 2 is going vertical. I can start squeezing towards him. If he runs that corner route, I got him. If he runs a seam route, I can squeeze it and help the safety. Because the safety's reading the QB, he's playing deep middle. If he has another seam, he got to be able to read the QB shoulders and break on the long arm action. Now, when we're playing cover 3, it's important that we get enough depth to see everything. So if we got 2 verticals, 1 and 2 running a vertical, we got to be able to play both of them. So you want to get enough depth to play both, right? You want to be able to play both. So you're probably going to be in a crossover run playing both. Because if he's going vertical, you got to be able to play both of the verts. Now, this is the very important thing. When routes go vertical, our zone coverage expand a little bit more, right? So that means if he's going vertical, he breaks on a comeback, but number 2 is running vertical and runs a corner, we got to take the deepest route in our zone. So the flat defender has to expand his drop. His drop is going to be a little bit higher, right? And that's where he's going to be, right? So understand that if he runs a comeback, I see number 2 going vertical, he breaks for the corner route, I got to be underneath for the corner route. I got to be on the top of the corner route and make a play on the corner route. Now in cover 3, if it's 1 receiver, right, it's technically man over depth. So basically, if he runs anything vertical, you got him. If he runs a slant, in and in, you squeeze it, in and in, communicate it. If he runs a deep out, that's your only deepest threat in the zone, you got him. Fade, obviously you got him, right? Come back, you got him. So you got to understand that you don't want to cover an area if there's no threats in your area, right? Cover the deepest threat in your zone. Now, hot routes, right? So let's say there's double slants. You're not just going to pedal and put yourself out of position and make a play on the slant. So you're going to take the deepest slant. Number 2 runs a slant. Number 1 runs a slant. You hear in and in. Nothing here. You see number 2. You can squeeze it a little bit, make a play on it. Very important. So we don't want to just be pedaling and in, and then nobody's covering the slant. So you got to match routes a little bit in your zone. In cover 3, a lot of people like to disguise cover 3 so they show press coverage, right? So the press here, right here, and the bail on the snap or right before the snap. So it's important that you make sure you still got deep third if you're press bailing, right? You don't want to sit. If he runs a hitch, you don't want to sit on this and number 2 continues to run vertical. So you got to make sure you see it. So if we're press bailing, right, sometimes what they'll do is they'll line up inside leverage on the shit, and then before the snap, they shift outside, and then they start to bail outside leverage so they can see number 1 and read number 2, right? So if I'm here, down, red 8, set, go. I'm taking a head start, making sure I'm able to protect my zone responsibility. So if he's going vertical, I'm here. I can see him in my peripherals. I can see number 2. I can read the QB. Very important, right? You do not want to do this. You do not want to do this. Down, ready, set, go. Now he's in my blind spot. I can't see him. I still got to read number 2. He's getting in depth and he's over top of me. So if you know you got cover 3 and you know you're going against a fast receiver, bail a little bit early, right? It's very important. Bail a little bit early. Get enough depth so you can see everything, because you do not want him to get in your blind spot and number 2 is running vertical and you can't see him. So you want to get enough depth where you can see him in your peripherals, see number 2, read the QB. 3 beaters, right? All verts. We got 3 deep, 4 verts. That's a cover 3 beater. You put the safety in a bind in a tough situation, right? Now, another one is smash concept. If you know you got cover 3, right, you got to expand where your eyes should be. If he runs a hitch, this is not your job to stop the hitch. Your job is to stop the deepest route in your zone. So if he runs a hitch, you want to make sure you get enough depth, right, to see number 2 runs vertical. You're still running vertical. He runs that corner route. You got him. You got the corner route. The quarterback is reading you. If you sit on this hitch, nobody's going to be back there for that corner. So you got to make sure you communicate China, or smash, so the flat defender can run to number 1 and you can see number 2 start to squeeze to number 2. He runs the corner out, you're right there. All right, another one, post wheel. Post wheel, so a post from number 1 and a wheel for number 2. So if you hear and number 1 runs that post, you got to squeeze with it. Remember what I said earlier, the flat defender has the wheel. Now, this is the thing that we could do, and this is, if you're advanced, you could help in the wheel, is if he's running vertical, boom, and he runs that post, if you got enough depth, you're able to see the post, you're able to see the wheel. You see the ball thrown, you can speed turn and still be over top and attack the ball at the highest point, right? So you got to understand that getting enough depth in your zone responsibility helps you a lot, and you're able to make more plays if you get enough depth. You squeeze this post just in case the safety is not available. So you're going to squeeze it and run with it, right? If the safety's there, you can get enough depth. Now you can see everything and you can help out on the wheel if you. Now cover 4, true quarters, cover 4. Everybody got a quarter of the field. So as you got to remember, you got to make sure when you pedal, you got to remember your zone. You and the safety got to work together. If he runs a post and he runs a corner route, you got to communicate the switch. In and in, out, you take it, right? Now, you also got to know the down and distance. If it's 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, he runs a hitch, technically he's in your zone. We don't want to just beat a break on it. Just sink a little bit, just in case he runs something, number 2 runs something out, or you could be in position to make a play. Because technically, if he runs a deep out, you got to be here, because he's still running into your zone. We will rally up and tackle that. And we also got a flat defender, right? So the linebacker's zone responsibility drops, expands a little bit more. Your alignment, right? Based on the down and distance, usually this is a prevent type deal. You could adjust your alignment based on the situation, but you still want to be about 7, maybe 8. Sometimes you might be back, really back at 10, 12, based on what the situation is. But you still got to remember, you got deep quarters, right? So you here, you want to get enough depth to see your receiver, see the threats, and read the QB, right? And now you obviously in zone coverage, you zone turn. You don't want to ever turn your back away from the quarterback. You want to zone turn, very important. For corners, the cover 4 beater routes are deep crossing routes. If you guys don't communicate, you got to communicate. You got to communicate with this, because if you squeeze with the post or the deep end, right, and number 2 runs it out and you're late on it, that's a completion right there. So you got to make sure you guys are on the same page. Talk to him pre-snap. Talk to your safety. Pre-snap, hey, watch deep out, deep switch. Watch it, communicate that, because now you guys are on the same page. So you can stay in your zone. He goes in and in, you squeeze it, but as soon as you see number 2 come back out, you're right in position to take number 2, right? So you got to understand that, right? That's very important. Communication in cover 4 is huge. That's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to drop a like on the video. Remember, when we're playing zone coverage, our eyes are very important. You got to put your eyes in the best position for you to make a play. So be disciplined with your eyes. Understand, if you get enough depth in your zone coverage, you can see more, right? But if you don't get enough depth, you put yourself in a bad situation and you're chasing routes. And you don't want to be chasing routes, especially if you got deep zone responsibility. You want to get enough depth to see everything. You can always break down, make a play. But it's going to be hard for you to make a play if you're beat in your zone vertical, right? So you want to make sure you're on top of everything, and then you come down and make plays if you need to. Understand how to read the QB's shoulders, right? High shoulder, he's looking for deeper routes. He turns the shoulder to the flat, he's breaking, he's throwing it towards the flat or something out, right? You got to understand how to read that and react to that. Very important. And communication. Communication is very important in zone coverages. You all have to be on the same page. You, the linebacker, the safety, the strong safety, if it's on your side, you got to communicate and be on the same page, because that's going to help you guys overall make more plays, stop route concept, and understand route concept that comes into your zone and out of your zone. Very important. That's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to drop a like. Make sure to follow us if you haven't on all our platforms. Sub to the YouTube channel if you haven't. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.